Thanks for tuning into our seller interview series. Up today, we've got an affiliate site for sale in the health and fitness niche, more specifically the weight loss industry. The site makes just under $17,000 a month in net profit. The listing number on this one is 40216. Now, we do these interviews to give potential buyers more information about both the seller and the sites they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. We've got the seller Mike with us today to go through the site and cover everything from niche selection to traffic and monetization. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, Justin. Thanks for having me on.
All right, buddy. So let's do a quick kind of summary on the site. It was built in February 2014, so it's a little over a year old. The monthly revenue on this one is $17,500.66. The expenses come out to just over $500 at $528, and that's $500 for continued link building and then $28 a month for articles. We've got net profit at $16,972.66, and you get around 95,000 page views per month. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Cool, man. Well, tell us a little bit about your background in building and running websites and online businesses.
Well, I don't really have much experience before this. This site was kind of the first proper SEO site I built. It was, back in kind of February. I was following a course on SEO, and so I built this to follow along with the course. And at that point, I actually just couldn't rank it. I kind of came back to it just a few months later and just developed from there. So other than this, I have no experience. I was a newbie.
What's crazy to me is you got started in the weight loss industry, man. That's a rough niche to kind of cut your teeth. Why did you choose weight loss and health? Like, why was that the one you went after?
Oh, well, I mean, as I said, I was just pretty new, so it wasn't a thought-out plan. I think that was kind of one of the reasons it was so difficult in the beginning. I think originally it was some keywords were recommended to me or some vague offers, and then just struggled for a while and then kind of eventually found a way in. So I didn't choose it with any thought-out plan. I didn't know how competitive it was, honestly, Justin.
This is one of those ignorance is bliss things. Maybe you're like, oh, I can try this out. I can get into this. I see some good keywords, and then boom, it starts taking off. Yeah, I guess one of the benefits of weight loss is that, yes, it's terribly competitive. It's really rough in terms of competition, but it's also really profitable, and that's why so many people are into it. Can you tell me how the site makes its money primarily?
Yeah, it's monetized pretty much 100% by CPA offers, affiliate offers.
Okay, so you've got affiliate offers throughout the site. It's interesting because I was looking at the site myself, and when you're overseas, specifically the Philippines, like you can't actually access the site. So I was using a VPN to check it out. So do you have it blocked from countries that you're not looking for traffic from?
Oh, that might just be Cloudflare. I'm not too sure. I didn't intentionally block you, but if you're in the Philippines, you couldn't have made the site any money anyway because it's sort of monetized in, English-speaking countries. Well, I suppose they do speak English in the Philippines, but,
Some other countries. Yeah, the Philippines actually, the English is pretty good, but they do speak a bunch of different languages here too as well. Tell me a little bit about why, like, weight loss specifically. I mean, you've got a bunch of different things in the health industry. What turned you on about the niche that made you think you could make some money there?
Well, I suppose it was because of I just saw the search volume and I saw the amount of money people were willing to pay you for leads and sales and stuff. So, it wasn't particularly anything about the niche other than the sort of twinkle in the newbie's eye, just seeing what might be possible.
Did you choose the keywords first, or did you look for the product and then look for keywords around that product?
Well, as I said, it kind of developed. It's a bit of a Frankenstein, really. It started off with a few keywords I was focusing on one product, and that I couldn't really rank. And then when I came back to it months later, I changed it around, focusing on a different product. Both of them now are actually ranking and profitable. I think I did start with the offers, though, and then I matched the keywords into it.
Gotcha. Yeah, so if you find a nice, profitable offer, you then go back and see, okay, what's my in? Do I think I can get this ranked, and for what keywords?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. All right, man. So let's talk a little bit about why you're selling the site. Like, why don't you just keep the site and continue growing it out?
Well, I mean, I think I've gotten to the point where I've taken advantage of a good portion of the lower hanging fruit, though actually, weirdly, I still find new keywords. But the reason is I kind of want a bit more capital for starting newer projects. This was, kind of like my beginner's project, I suppose, although it's grown into something big. I kind of want to start, doing a few more things that require capital, like possibly selling on Amazon. And the other thing is thinking about getting my first flat. So need a bit of cash for that.
Cool. Okay. So you're looking to potentially start some other sites and you're looking at potentially getting an apartment or condo. Where are you at, by the way?
Where do I live? Oh,
Yeah.
it's down in England, sort of on the coast, south of London.
Cool. Okay, so you're looking to get a place and you're looking to build out some other sites. One of the reasons, we want to know kind of what the cash is for is buyers are concerned that, you're going to take the cash and immediately start competing in the same niche. They want to know that that's not going to happen.
No, of course not.
Cool. All right, so let's talk about the site history a little bit. Now, it's pretty new. It was built in February of 2014. Can you tell me a little bit about the trajectory of the business in the first few weeks and months? Like, did it just take off right away? Did it take a few months to kind of get up and running?
It definitely took quite a few months. Yeah, so I originally built it about February. It sort of took form over a month or two. I was trying to rank it for a few months. I just didn't get anywhere for whatever reason. My knowledge, my tools, whatever at the time weren't good enough. And so I think I went away from SEO for a while, and then I came back to it later when I saw that it was getting just a tiny trickle of sort of incidental traffic. And I looked in Webmaster Tools, and I sort of saw that a few pages were getting the traffic, and I sent links to them. And because I had by then I'd learned a bit more about competition research.
Gotcha.
And so I changed lots of stuff around with like the offers, did onto more kind of trial offers instead of where the customer has to actually buy. They just sort of put in their information and then I get paid. And also kind of switched around the focus on the keywords and the copywriting, conversion optimization. And that's when it finally started to take off those many months later, sort of half a year later. And it was kind of at that point that I was down to my last few $100s. So it was one of those sort of sales letter stories.
What blogs did you read, or what kind of like programs did you follow to kind of like cut your teeth and get started? Like what was it that kind of inspired you to get started in building sites yourself?
Well, originally building the site, it was following a course called Rankings Institute. So that kind of laid the foundation for lots of stuff. Then when I came back to it, maybe you've probably heard of SourceWave. That was very helpful for me.
Yeah.
I just watched through every single video that Alex Becker had and watched all of the stuff and kind of just absorbed just enough to, I don't know, get to this stage.
Awesome.
Or kind of start it off on that trajectory.
Tell me what you've done with the site that just worked, that you tried it out and you realized, wow, this is a real winner. This is probably something I can use in the future as I build out other sites or build out other businesses.
Well, I definitely say the lesson I learned about switching to, I don't know, less demanding offers, like I said about the trial offers instead of sale offers. I wasn't making any money before that. Then as soon as I switched, started making money. So it was just too demanding for the buyer, too much of a leap of faith, I suppose. As I'm building out more sites, I'm doing that same kind of thing. The other things are just really dig hard for the keywords. In such a competitive niche, it was really the keywords that were probably the ultimate success point. Because if I hadn't have found those, it's just finding the little way in that was sort of not really visible from the surface, wasn't really visible from Keyword Planner or anything else at the time. And it turned out to be great.
So finding kind of the low friction offers, the ones where, they sign up for a free trial and then they have the automatic rebill, it was less an aggressive ask, I guess, of the buyers. And so you were probably, I'm guessing, getting a lot more conversions and ultimately enough of those conversions stuck around to pay that gets you paid, right?
Yeah, that's right. Oh, and also the other thing was when I said about switching the conversion optimization, there was some things about how I did the call to actions that seemed to instantly, improve it a bit more, just kind of in the wording of it.
Gotcha.
So that's something I'm going to continue.
Gotcha. So a little bit of copywriting, conversion rate optimization. Have you used any piece of software for that conversion rate optimization, or using like Optimizely or anything like that?
No, I haven't actually. The only thing, it's not even really, you couldn't really class it as a software, is just pretty links, just so I have, one, I kind of have a separate sub-ID. A different affiliate link for each page, so I at least kind of know which page is converting.
Okay, great. So you're tracking those via pretty links and seeing which ones were converting better, and then sticking with the ones that did better. Oh man, yeah. Someone with like skills and conversion rate optimization could, I think, take this on and probably do even better. I mean, that's at least you're doing it at all, right? Which is better than not doing it. But I think there are probably better ways for a new buyer to.
Yeah, definitely.
Take that on. What have you done with the site that you tried and you thought you're like, this is going to crush it, I'm going to make a bunch of money with this, and it just failed miserably? Is there anything that you just tried and it was just not a winner?
Yeah, quite a few of the articles I put out. So I've chucked out quite a few articles just where I thought it might be a good keyword, but in times when They were sort of related in the niche. They were about the, kind of weight loss thing, but they weren't specific enough to the offer. They've generally converted pretty badly, and that was just a sort of another newbie kind of error, you could say, though they still bring in a few sales, but I wouldn't do that kind of thing again.
So you did better going just straight after it rather than dancing around with the keywords and targeting kind of related stuff that wasn't as great.
Yeah, I mean, even though I sort of saw there was a bit of search volume and lower competition, it just wasn't really worth it.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. Let's talk a little bit about the traffic and earnings on the site. Can you give me a breakdown of how much of the traffic is organic, how much referral, how much direct, how much social?
I think it's probably about 99% organic, and it's around about, 1,500 visitors a day. I think I get a tiny little bit from links and maybe a bit of social or something.
Okay. And can you talk to me, have you ever tried any paid traffic to the site? Have you tried AdWords or Facebook?
No, I haven't actually, so that's, something a new buyer could try.
All right, talk to me about the earnings. Now, all of the earnings are affiliate offers from the same affiliate company. Is that right?
Yeah, 99% right. I have a sort of one main affiliate network that's done very well for me. And I have sort of one or two backup ones that I go to. But yeah, it's just from one.
And the products that they're purchasing, I won't get into very specifics here, but like the products they're purchasing, is it always the same product, or is it like a combination of 3, 4, 5 or more products?
It's a split of about 3. And they also have upsells as well. But there's a sort of majority on one, and then maybe a third, a kind of third on the other, and a little tiny bit on the last one.
Do you get any piece of the recurring, or that's all just one-time sales for you in terms of?
No, I mean, yeah, unfortunately, it's just a one-time thing. But the benefit of it is I don't care whether they refund or anything. I still get paid because it's CPA.
Gotcha. How stable are the earnings? If someone bought this, could they expect it to be stable year-round? Is it been a consistent growth trajectory? Is it up way high the next 1 month and down the next month? How has that been?
I think it's kind of hard to tell. It's a little bit of both, really. It took off really quickly. It seems stable on average around the kind of 15,000, 17 kind of mark. It's hard to tell, really. I think some months, I'm not really sure why, I kind of put it down to if a celebrity or something might mention that, the products in the niche, then loads of searches happen and convert more highly because it's on people's minds. Some months you can expect like really massive bonuses. And there's also a degree of seasonality. It seems like it kind of is better towards the beginning of the year, possibly.
That makes sense.
And because as people get towards Christmas and stuff, they just want to kind of get a bit, they want to relax and eat and stuff, so they don't so much care about weight loss. They want to get thin for summer and stuff.
They're gorging themselves in December, and then January rolls around. They're like, oh yeah, those New Year's resolutions. I probably got to
yeah. Oh, actually, just one funny story is I noticed right after the Christmas Day lunch last year, I was kind of a bit down because, sales and clicks were quite low. As soon as that was over, it picked right up. So it kind of confirmed my my theory about it just being, people want to gorge themselves on the holiday, and after that they kind of feel a bit guilty perhaps and want to do a bit of weight loss.
Yeah, you get one of those guilty sites, man. They end up there like, okay, it's time to be serious here. Tell me about the content that's on the site. How much content is on it today, and how much needs to be added on a monthly basis?
There's about, I forget now, there's sort of about 20 articles maybe, somewhere around there. But honestly, I don't really add very much content at all now. I only add an article when I find a new keyword. I've gone many months, without adding a single article, and it seemed fine. So I think it's totally optional for the buyer if they want to add articles on a regular basis, like once a month or something.
You do some keyword research on this, and I think you have some additional keywords that you kind of looked into and maybe keywords that you ruled out. Is that something you'd be willing to pass on to the buyer?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, all of the keywords I've actually found already kind of on the site as pages. Some of them just I haven't pushed really yet. So I think that's something, you could look into if you want.
Awesome.
Because I prioritized other ones higher.
All right, man, let's talk a little bit about the opportunities that you see with the site. So if there's a buyer that's looking at the site and they want to take, kind of a moderate approach to growth, they don't want to grow too quickly, keep it kind of slow and steady, what path would you recommend?
Well, what I would probably recommend is keep finding new keywords. I mean, it's weird, even now, kind of almost a year on, or, well, I suppose over a year on, I still find kind of good keywords in this niche. I thought it would just end for some reason, but I still find them. Even just a week ago I found one that have, great search volume and pretty low competition that you can just make a little article on and try and rank. So I definitely keep doing just, searching for more keywords and doing more articles. I'd also boost up, some of the articles I already have. They're on, pretty decent keywords, but I don't know, just haven't pushed them, or they're slightly more competitive, that they haven't sort of ranked quite as easily. But so I'd do that. And, you could also try doing stuff like, putting an opt-in form on and stuff. I sort of played around with it, but I have so little experience with it that I couldn't really do it.
Well, one of the problems with opt-ins is like your short-term gains are bad. So you actually, if someone put opt-ins, right, that'd be people, instead of buying the offers, they'd be opting in. So,
yes,
so
yeah.
it would hurt your short-term cash. There is a break-even point, though, at which getting those opt-ins and having that email list becomes more valuable. So you take a short-term loss for a long-term gain. So I think that would be kind of a long-term strategy and long-term play here.
Okay.
What would you do if you were incredibly risky and you wanted to take a big stab? You want to 2x or 3x the site within 12 to 24 months. What approach would you take? What things would you do?
Wow. Well, I suppose paid traffic would have to be a part of it. And so I'd probably just, play around, if you were experienced with that, play around with that, just drive a load of traffic, see if you can do things like that. I don't know whether you'd class this as really risky. It's probably not really. Try a bit more on retargeting. I have, again, sort of tried it a little bit, but I don't know, I just didn't push it very much. So, you could try that a bit more. The riskiest thing I can think of, but I'm not sure I'd really want to do this, though I'm sure it would probably do quite a lot of extra sales or leads, is just be a lot more blatant with the sort of marketing. Like, I've had it suggested to me to do, the whole shebang, like timers and arrows and flashing things and stuff. So, obviously you'd get more conversions because sadly those things just work. But it might be a bit risky because, you might just get reported or something. But so, that would be a high risk play.
Yeah, just a total redesign, right? That's always scary. Sometimes you see e-commerce guys do this. They redesign the site and they're thinking, oh, if I make the site look better, it'll do better. And that's not always the case. Sometimes it does worse, and people appreciate that old look and feel, which is crazy to me, but they prefer like an, kind of older, funkier site than a nice, cleaner design. So, yeah, there's risk there.
Yeah, I have tried to find a little bit of a balance between sort of marketing and also feeling a bit helpful to the reader, a bit not so terribly blatantly just, here, ram it down your face, buy. So maybe that actually improves conversions to a degree.
All right. One of the other things I like, or I see as an opportunity, is there's enough cash in the business, enough cash flow, where, someone could look at buying up, let's say, Facebook pages that are in the niche, right? And they could start using that to diversify the traffic. And we're going to get into that in a second. We're going to talk about risk, but, like you said, 99% or so, this being organic traffic, they can buy their way into other traffic plays. So let's talk about that. Let's get into the risks with this site a little bit. One of the things that sticks out to me is that it's young, right? We're talking about a site that was built in February 2014. It didn't take off right away, so we only got about a year's worth of history. It's not an old site. It's in a really aggressive niche, but it's ranked well for some critical keywords. What do you think some of the risks are with the site?
Well, I suppose there's, as you say, the risk, as there always with SEO, the keywords, either it'll get a penalty or something, though I've, tried to minimize that as much as possible from the service I'm using. There is a risk that, the offers might get less popular, perhaps, though I've already sort of tried to, mitigate that because originally it was just one product. As time goes on, I've added more in that kind of space.
Yeah.
So I've tried to sort of mitigate against that a bit. I think the main risk at the moment, really, that I see is the offers kind of I don't know how to explain this without being too specific, but the products might just
be less popular.
Yeah, be less popular.
They may go out of fashion, because there are, you're talking about weight loss, right? You're talking about for thousands of years people have been doing things. So, it changes, right? In today's, industry, it can change in 6 months, a year. Now, this particular niche, I know it a bit, and so I know that this has been around a while and that the trend lines look good, but that may not always be the case. I'd say my biggest risk, I think, obviously the organic traffic. The fact that most of it comes from organic is concerning. And I would say for a new buyer, that's something I'd want to move away from immediately. And I think I'd buy my way into other traffic sources. You mentioned monetization not being diversified, and that you've taken some steps to try to add on some products so you can start to diversify it a bit. You're right. If the affiliate offer changes, if they, put margin pressure on you, they give you less, or they make it more expensive for the customer or something, that's somewhat problematic, but there are tons of offers in the space, so I don't think that would crush you. And as you said, you have a couple of other offers there as well. So, yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you will know, based on actually knowing what the niche is, there was one of the products that actually did get a bit sort of bashed, and I was kind of quite panicked at that time. But I'm surprised, still, 2 months on or something, I'm still getting quite a decent chunk of sales from it. It hasn't really harmed it that much. So even if they, do go down a bit, I think it's so sort of pushed by other people marketing it that it keeps driving it along to a degree.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the work required on the site. Can you describe to me the amount and the type of work that you do on the site to maintain it?
Yeah, for quite a long time, the only work that I really did was just vanity, just check the rankings, check the stats, and press refresh. But now, and maybe in the last month or two, there is a little bit of work that's cropped up that I need to do, sort of other than the original work I did where I sort of, ranked it and constructed it and stuff.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
Oh, okay. So the original work that there was researching the keywords, and so, you have to dig in, kind of like go back and forth between, Keyword Planner and Google Search and maybe a software and stuff. And getting I don't write the articles myself. I tried it, but it just takes too long for me. So I get them written, then have to upload them. As anyone knows with SEO stuff, you have to just SEO optimize it. And then if I want to rank that one, drop it into the ranking service. So that's the main work required for actually sort of expanding, but there's kind of no day-to-day running. The only thing that has cropped up now is keeping more of an eye on the offers. So occasionally there's a sort of period of volatility where a sort of like, I don't know how to describe it, but a specific pseudo brand will go down.
Yeah.
And you'll replace it with another pseudo brand. And for that, I just sort of, ask my affiliate manager what's best. He tells me what it is. I take a look, just, see what it looks like, and then spend about 3 minutes pasting in the links into my pretty links.
Tell me a little bit about what you do in terms of like on-site optimization. What do you do to help the site rank for particular keywords? What kind of like internal linking do you do? What kind of path do you follow there?
Well, maybe some of your I was going to say visitors, readers, some people in the audience might have heard of silos. I didn't even know about silos when I first constructed this, so the internal linking is kind of totally hazard. It doesn't have much rhyme or reason to it. It's just, I'll link to this, I'll link to this, I'll link to this. It's not well constructed at all, but it seems to work for some reason. For the actual on-page optimization, I just, make sure that the main keywords in the SEO title, in the H1, maybe have a few LSIs in there, make the URL good, obviously, and maybe have a slightly copywritten description to help click-through rates. That's kind of all I do, other than just dropping it into the linking service.
Cool. All right. So one of the things we're doing with Empire Flippers right now actually is going back and creating silos. Originally, we created the content just for users. Like, there's no search engine intent at all. And now we're like, maybe we could improve some of that organic traffic. So let's go and clean it up. And I think it's easier to clean it up after the fact than to try to plan it all out, and you don't even know where the site's going. So I think there might be an opportunity for a buyer to look at that. Let's get into some additional information, some additional questions I might have for you about this. Like, one of the concerns as a buyer is I want to make sure that you're not going to be competing with me, a week after I buy this site. Would you be willing to commit to a non-compete with the buyer?
Yeah, I think I probably would. I mean, what I'm doing at the moment is I have about 3 more sites or, thereabouts that I'm working on in totally different niches. So I'm kind of okay to just switch my focus more onto those.
How much support would you be willing to offer a buyer? I mean, there's not a ton of work that goes into this, but like what kind of support and phone calls or emails would you be willing to offer someone that bought the site?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, I don't think there's very much to learn. I think it's going to be quite a short learning curve. But if the buyer wanted it, I'd be fine for a few Skype calls or email support for a while, sure. Gotcha.
And then, obviously you're of the mind and of the most interest in getting 100% cash upfront on the deal. But would you at all be open to a split or an earn out? So let's say someone said, look, I want to take this over. I want to make sure it's something I can handle. Let's do 70% up front and we'll do, 30% in 30 days, or let's do 60% up front and 40% over the next 4 months based on hitting certain metrics. Is that something you'd be open to?
Yeah, I think I would be open to that, obviously, given the right offer.
Great. Yeah, I know. It's one of those things, well, it's not ideal, but I might take it. It just depends on what offers come in and where I'm at. All right, man. So, yeah. Mike, let's do a quick wrap up. The niche, as I said before, is health and fitness. It's actually in the weight loss niche, very competitive. It's really taken off. After a few months of kind of hanging around, it's really taken off and gotten some great traffic from some really targeted keywords. It was built in February 2014. It's monetized via an affiliate network. The net profit on the site is just under $17,000, just a hair. And it's getting about 95,000 page views a month, or about 1,500 visits a day. Mike, if you could give me your best pitch in the next 30 seconds or so on why someone should purchase this site, what would you say?
Well, number one, because it's kind of the internet dream. You can do about less than 1 hour a week, work on it, and it will still keep chugging along, bringing in 5 figures a month, which is, and in an extremely competitive niche. That's kind of unheard of to have a 6-figure website come out so soon. So I'd say just get it because you don't have to do any work on it, really.
Awesome, Mike. Really appreciate you being on the show. If anyone's watching this on YouTube or Vimeo or anywhere else, you can click on the link there. It'll take you to the listing page and you can get more details about the site. If you're actually on the listing page and you want to express more interest in the site, you can look at the top right-hand corner and you can click on the deposit button. Once you've paid the 100% refundable deposit, we'll give you all the information, including the URL and all the traffic information, so you can do your due diligence and see if this is a website that you'd be interested in purchasing. Mike, thanks so much for coming on the show, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Justin.